Hi dear peeps, welcome back. And I had made a video 2 days ago about how the narcissist, or why the narcissist targets the empath. And I promised to do one on why the narcissist attacks the codependent, or targets the codependent. So that's what I'd like to get into today. Codependency. I'm sure that many of you watching are already onto the fact that you are a codependent, and the reason why you may have been involved or may still be involved with a narcissist or a toxic person. But again, maybe some of you are new to the whole subject of narcissism and codependency. So, excuse me. So, I'd just like to get into what codependency is and how it is, where it has its roots. Codependent is someone who it is established at a very early age. So in childhood, in a dysfunctional family, and it is established through abuse, through child abuse. Now, when I say abuse, I don't only mean the physical side of abuse, sexual abuse. I'm also meaning that abuse can come in very many forms. So it can come through neglect, if you were neglected as a child, if your feelings were neglected. So, if a child there's a very old saying, a child should be seen and not heard. Now, that is just sick, because everyone should be seen and heard. You can be seen in a physical sense. This is what happens when you are neglected as well on an emotional level. Seen in a physical sense, but neglected in an energetic sense and in the spiritual way, that you are not validated, you are not shown that you matter. There may be less importance placed on your person, on your child, your inner child. So these are all the forms of abuse that come up, and this is how codependency is established. So what is really going on is that you have not developed a sense of self. Now, just to clear things up, if you come from a dysfunctional home, you are more apt, if there's been alcoholism or drug abuse, you are more apt to becoming a codependent. And I don't want to put all parents down, because I myself am a recovered codependent. I did not come from an abusive home. So I had two very loving parents who raised me from their level of consciousness and their level of seeing certain things, their outlook on life, their views on life. Of course, what they had been taught in their childhood, this is what they passed on to us children. So when you are made a codependent, doesn't mean that you have narcissistic or toxic parents. It is coming from their level of consciousness. So every single person is on a different level of consciousness when raising children. And if you are a codependent who is coming from a dysfunctional home, then sadly enough, there was very much abuse going on in whatever form. So again, what has happened is that you have not developed your authentic sense of self. You had it at some point. Of course, when you are born, you have a sense of self, an unconscious sense of self. But at some point through abuse, it is then it is broken down and reconstructed in a dysfunctional way. So I feel that society in general is codependent. And you can see this in media, you can see this through social media. If you place a new Facebook status and you don't get enough likes, or you don't get enough responses, you you worry about that. Well, no one likes that, of course. But what happens when we place a social a status or a post on social media? It is to gain external validation as well. We are not only sharing, but we are also gaining the external validation. So this is what happens when you are a codependent. You find that you want to be attached to something other than yourself. So there is a great need for attachment, and there is also a need for you to fix things, fix the other person. So when you are involved in a relationship, you will find that you need to fix the other person all the time. You're always checking them on their behavior. To just share a funny story with you, I am recovered codependent, but I noticed that at some point I still have the need for control in certain situations. So this is another thing that a codependent will do. We need to control. And how does that show up? To share this funny story with you. My husband has this habit. He doesn't even realize he's doing it. Has this habit of sniffing. He sniffs. We can be watching a movie, sitting on the sofa watching a movie, and he'll sniff. And this irritates me. I cannot handle it. So I will say things like, stop sniffing, or don't sniff too loud. And, it's silly. I sort of nudge him, and I want to control that aspect of how he breathes. It's ridiculous. But this is what we do when we are, this is what a codependent does. Just thinking of that story, it is so silly now that I hear myself repeating the story to you. It is silly to want to control that sort of thing. And this is something minor that I'm sharing with you, but maybe you can relate to the fact that wanting to control the other person goes into deeper levels of your life as well. So this is, you have the narcissist. When you're involved with the narcissistic personality, they are controlling you, and in turn you try and control them. So you see how that works. You try to control them by making them, you want to help them to get better. This is also a form of control. Wanting to help them get better, wanting them to see things from a different point of view, wanting to understand them, that is another form of control. So this is what a codependent will do. You will want to fix, you will want to be attached because you are missing the sense of self. So a few things to take you through to recognize whether you are a codependent or not is you will have anxiety, maybe even panic attacks. You will feel stuck in your life in certain situations. You will feel that you will not be able to break free of certain situations. You will be longing to fill a void, an emptiness on the inside, but you won't know how to. And you wouldn't know what you need to fill up the emptiness, the void. You may feel unworthy. You may feel detached, feeling unhappy and not being able to put your finger on it. Distraction, you will find, especially when you are, say that you are single for some time, you will feel the need to become attached to another relationship. You want another relationship. And this is so interesting because I was speaking to a friend of mine this week, and she went through a breakup recently, and she just feels that she doesn't want to be alone. She wants to be with someone. And when I asked her, why do you have this feeling? She couldn't answer that. She just felt that is the normal way to be with someone else. And I said to her, this is because society places these tags on you to say that you are not normal if you are single. And it's ridiculous, really. I mean, why can't you be single? But looking at it from another perspective, from her perspective, she does not like the feeling of being alone. So she wants to be attached to someone else through a relationship. Sorry, dear friend, I hope you don't mind me using your example in my story. You know who you are, and I'll give you some love after this video. So yeah, getting back on point. Depression, you find that you will probably be depressed a lot of the time. There's also this wonderful thing when I was going through when I was codependent and I would go through my depression. I wanted to sort of make sense of it all. And now in hindsight, I can make sense of that. My depression, I mean, if you just break up the word, deep rest, depression, deep rest. So I realize now that I was in a deep rest for in order to find, to reconnect to myself again, to be at this peaceful state, so that I could get in touch with myself again, get in touch with my higher self again. So I find that the depression does not always have to be a negative thing. It can be the deep rest that you are experiencing, and that is preparing you for something wonderful that's coming, whether it is a relationship or friendship, or the feeling of overall happiness that you will get once you are through this, through the depression, and through the weighing down of being a codependent in some situations. You find that you may also settle for less. So when wanting a new relationship, you will not raise your standards, or you will not be able to, you will not know how to raise certain standards in order to get these toxic people out of your life, and in order to be open to a valuable and healthy relationship. So when you haven't reached that level of consciousness yet, you will settle for anything and anyone who comes into your life. So you will not be, you will not be very picky. You will not make healthy choices in order to collaborate in a healthy relationship. So you will settle for less. You will find when you are in a relationship with a toxic person as well, you will have sex when you don't want to have sex. So your sex drive may be low, and in order to gain the external validation, if your partner has a different sex drive, a higher sex drive, you will find that you will have sex when you really don't want to, in order to gain that external validation as well. So you will literally please someone else in order to feel validated. Something else that comes into play is the constant criticism of self. The constant negative talk in your head, putting yourself down, blaming yourself for stuff, guilt tripping yourself. You know that you are in a bad place. You know that you are in a bad relationship with a narcissist, but you don't know how to break free of that. You feel that you need them, even though you realize at some level that this is a bad relationship to be in. You will not feel that you can break away, because you need that external validation from them in whatever messed up way that may show up. So yeah, there'll be the constant criticizing of yourself, and the way to get through this is to go into therapy. You do need to go into a 12 or 15 step plan, and I offer this as well. If you would like to heal or recover from codependency, you have to go through certain steps, because what you're actually doing when you are healing from codependency is that you are reprogramming yourself. So the program that you had been given, that had been implanted in your brain at a young age, you need to become aware of this, conscious of it, and then you can backtrack and make different choices and reprogram your mind and your body into something that is healthy, that will give you healthy behavior patterns. Another thing you may experience as a codependent is eating disorders, whether that is overeating or whether that is undereating. If you were bullied about this as a child, about your eating habits, during the child abuse, this is also a form of abuse, when a parent will put you down. Don't eat too much. You're getting fat. You're unhealthy. You're disgusting. Whatever the case may be, you might eat in secret. You may get to a point where you are drinking in secret, you know, so you are repeating. If you're coming from a dysfunctional home where there was a lot of alcoholism, you find that you may even repeat those patterns. Anger, frustration. This is what also plays with codependency, is that it'll just be under the surface. You will feel a lot of anger and depression. You won't always know where it's coming from. You won't always realize why you are having these anger attacks or guilt attacks even. So these are just a few things in realizing whether you are codependent, or maybe if you have already realized this, you know, it's to refresh your memory and also to let you know that you can recover from codependency. You know, it's codependency is also like having this invisible sign across your forehead, which makes the narcissist take advantage of you. This is what it all boils down to in a toxic relationship, is that a toxic person, a narcissist, can sense these traits in you and they take advantage of that. And on the other hand, the codependents are warm and loving and kind, and they will do everything for another person. They will do everything to make you feel comfortable and loved and warm. But the thing to do when codependency becomes extremely toxic is to turn that around, and instead of trying to extract external validation, trying to love on the other person, trying to fix the other person, if you turn that around and give yourself the compassion, yourself the love, you will be able to recover from codependency. And you will be able to have the courage as well to let go of situations and people that are just not healthy for you. So I would like to make, again, a second video on going through the steps of recovery from codependency. And there are a few things that you can do yourself. But it would be advised that you get coaching or that you get therapy. And again, I offer this coaching and therapy as well. But you need to get in touch with a therapist or a coach who has a good understanding of codependency, and also someone who has experienced it themselves. You know, they are at a much better, they're coming from a much better position to help you recover from this. So in the second video, I will go through the different, just touch on a few steps in recovery from codependency. But there are quite a few steps. I don't think I'll get into it now, because then this will be a very long video. But I promise to follow up on this sometime this week. So thank you for tuning in today, and sending you lots of love and light, and love yourself through this. And remember, it is not your fault. It is the way you were raised, it is how you were programmed, it is how you were conditioned to become a codependent. Again, sending you love and light, and speak to you very soon. Bye now.